All right, there we go. I'd like to start off by saying all praises to the Most High, Ahaya. Tonight's lesson will be, I'm going to open it up a little. That way anybody that has a couple of questions on anything, we can kind of go over it. But majority of the lesson, we're going to talk about grace and just go into what the word grace means and how grace affects your life. All right, but we'll open it up like we always do for news. Anybody have any news they would like to share with the group that they've seen on the news over the last few days or anything like that? Anybody? No? ISIS is at war with America. That's nothing new.
The dude they just set up a cat. Did y'all see that? They set up a dude with sting. He was thinking he was helping one of the ISIS guys, but it was really
America on the back.
yeah, one of the undercovers, and he had the whole funding, and he was ready to do it up, and they ended up locking him up.
He was part of ISIS.
He was trying to help in the list. He wanted to list and help them in their cause. Right out of
He had like a donation or something.
yeah, he was trying
or just like something to bring to.
He was trying to help him out any way he could.
Okay.
And they ran this thing.
Who arrested him? ISIS did?
American soil.
Oh, okay. He was already here.
Citizen
Ah, okay.
that was trying to help ISIS.
ISIS out. Well, it's going to be much more of that.
And the other thing I meant to say, they talking about how they gonna come up through the southern border.
Well, we've been talking about how the southern border has been weak because of all the people that's been crossing the border, all the kids that's been crossing the border since October. Since October, you've had many kids that have crossing that border due to the fact that Obama passed that when he got reelected, saying that the borders are not the same as they've always been in past in America. And that's why you have the crisis going on. They have to put all those kids that's coming across the border somewhere. So they're flooding the American borders with basically starting poverty in the States, because now you're going to have a bunch of more people that's starving, homeless, different things like that. But the borders are wide open for ISIS to come in, and the borders have been wide open for a long time for ISIS to become U.S. citizens. So ISIS don't need the borders to come in here and do what they need to do. A lot of people that's going to do the work for ISIS in America is already here. They've been U.S. citizens for years now. You have to understand, ISIS has already sent these people over here years ago, said, go get comfortable with the United States. And then when we make that call and say, hey, go blow something up, they already got people here ready to do the work. So don't let the news trick you and make you think that ISIS has to come here and we're going to close the borders down and make them secure to stop ISIS from coming. No, ISIS is already here. All right, anything else? They found him? Yeah, I know they was. Now they see that lets you know it's a lie though. How they gonna go arrest this guy? So you telling me? Because I remember they were saying we know who he is. It's a British guy. He the one that beheaded that. Talking about the first guy, the first journalist that got beheaded. And they said the guy that was behind that mask was a British such and such. However you know this. But how are you going to go arrest him? How is the U.S. that good to go in and grab this guy from ISIS? Is that so? They said he got arrested?
Yeah, I thought he got arrested,
See, I don't know. That's why we can't believe in the news, because the news, they're going to fabricate the story to where you believe it, and they tell you that it's peace, they tell you that it's comfort, and then next thing you know, boom. So the moment you hear the government say everything's all right, or there's peace, everything's dying down, then get ready, because that lets you know full-blown war is coming. All right? Anything else? Anybody? Brother Jarrell? Anybody else have some news?
Probably saying something on you.
Yeah, okay. All right. With that in mind, we're going. Go ahead and say that again, Brother Drill. No problem. All right. Well, we'll go ahead. We'll get started. I say tonight's lesson is on grace. I know one of the brothers yesterday called me and asked me a few questions about Melchizedek. So we'll go in a little bit about Melchizedek and who Melchizedek is. A lot of people don't know who Melchizedek is and what he was about. Okay, so we're going to read some information about Melchizedek. Let everybody know who he is. Read that part.
We have Melchizedek. It says King of Righteousness, the King of Salem.
So Melchizedek was known as the King of Righteousness. Spell Melchizedek for them.
We got Melchizedek, Melchizedek,
Or DEC, whichever one you see is in a different areas, but in the Bible it's DEC. All right, so Melchizedek is the King of righteousness and the King of Salem. Salem is another name for Jerusalem. Okay? Salem is another name for Jerusalem, and it means the foundation of peace. That's what the word Salem means. The foundation of peace. Let's go to Hebrews 7:1. So now that we know Melchizedek, so now we're going to break down who Melchizedek is and why Melchizedek was so important. All right? But so far we know Melchizedek is the king of righteousness, and he was the king of Salem. The word Salem is another name for Jerusalem, and it means the foundation of peace. All right? Go ahead.
We're in the book of Hebrews. We're in chapter 7, verse 1. And to read, "For this Melchizedek, King of Salem, priest of the Most High Power, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all."
So when it says Abraham gave a tenth part of all, Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek, because Melchizedek was the priest over Abraham. So since Melchizedek was the priest over Abraham, and since Abraham learned from Melchizedek, Abraham paid tithes and gave his time to Melchizedek for the learning. Go ahead.
I'm going to start in the beginning of verse 2. It says, "To whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation King of Righteousness, and after that also King of Salem, which is King of Peace."
So it says Melchizedek is the king of righteousness and the king of Salem and the king of peace. So that's why the word Salem, it means the foundation of peace. All right, verse 3.
Verse 3, "Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of the Most High, abideth a priest continually."
So Melchizedek in Christ was the same type of priest, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. So Melchizedek, when Melchizedek was around, his days wasn't numbered. All right, you didn't know much about him, okay, but you knew he was a king and he was a priest of the Most High. All right, same about Christ. When Christ came, people knew of him, but they didn't know much about him. They were still trying to figure Christ out when he came in the flesh. And then even when Christ died for our sins, people were still trying to figure it out. You really didn't know much of what his purpose was if you didn't believe, especially if you didn't believe. If you didn't believe in the truth, you didn't have a clue about what the purpose of Christ was. Let's go to Genesis 14 and 18. So we're going to break down, like I said in the beginning, how Melchizedek was important. You have to understand, Moses was giving the commandments and the laws by the Most High. So before Moses, you had Abraham. So you say then, well, if Moses was giving the law and the commandments, and then Moses, he brought in the Levitical priesthood, came through Moses and the law. Well, what was going on before Moses? That's the question then. What was everybody following then before Moses brought in the Levitical priesthood under the law? Some had to be getting followed. And it was Melchizedek. Melchizedek is the one priest that was bringing love and peace and the word of the Most High before Abraham. Okay, and then when Abraham came through, as we already read, Abraham got his teachings from Melchizedek. And then on through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right, came after that Moses, all right, which brought the Levitical. Genesis 14 and 18.
In the book of Genesis, chapter 14, verse 18, it says, "And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High power. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High power, possessor of heaven and earth."
So he blessed Melchizedek the king, blessed Abram. All right, so he gave the blessing to Abram, which means he passed the priesthood over to Abram once he was done. Let's go to Psalms 76 and 1. So you have to understand the importance of Melchizedek. Like I say, he the one that was carrying the true word of the Most High and the true love and affection of the Most High. He was the one that was carrying that until Abram came, and then Abram, which is Abraham, carried it until the law came in the Levitical priesthood. Psalm 76 and 1.
We in the book of Psalms, chapter 76, verse 1. And it reads, it says, "To the chief musician on Neginoth, a psalm or song of Asaph, in Judah is the Most High known. His name is great in Israel."
All right, so it says, in Judah is the Most High known. His name is great in Israel. So when it says in Judah is the Most High known, that's why Judah is the tribe that must wake up and teach the other 11 tribes that the Most High is for real, and that the Most High is the way you go. That's why when we do a lot of these precepts, Judah is the one that's going to wake up and tell the people the truth. Okay? You have 12 tribes, and Judah is the head tribe. That tribe is to wake up and go out and teach and tell people, hey, you're not a Mexican, you're Issachar. Hey, you're not a Native American, you're Gad. So that's why it says in Judah is the Most High known. The spirit, the true spirit of Ahia flows through Judah. And then it flows through the rest of the tribes. All right? But the Levitical priesthood, was in Levi first, but then it came through Christ. Once Christ was crucified and once Christ was born, the Levitical priesthood was not passed over. It was still going, but then Christ came from the tribe of Judah. Let's go to Hebrews 7 and 14. And then, hold your spot there. And let's go to Hebrews 7 and 14. Go ahead.
We in the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, verse 14. It says, "For it is evident that our power sprang out of Judah, out of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood."
All right, let's go. So it says Christ came out of the tribe of Judah. That's what it just says. For it is evident that our power, our Lord, which is Christ, sprang out of Judah, out of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. So when Moses gave the priesthood in the beginning to the Levites, the Levitical priesthood, when Moses gave that, he didn't speak nothing of Judah having a priesthood at that time. So that's all that said. All right, let's go back to Psalms 71:1. Read it again.
We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 76, verse 1. It says, "To the chief musician in the Nigenah, a psalm or song of Asaph, in Judah is the Most High known. His name is great in Israel."
Okay, so one more precept. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 5:1. So in Judah is the Most High known. His name is great in Israel. So the name of Judah is great in Israel. The name of the Most High is great in Israel through the name of Judah. The name of Judah, they are the ones coming through and telling people, hey, his name is Ahiah Hashal Ahiah. So his name is great in Israel due to Judah. Judah wakes up and starts warning everybody, this is the true person that you worship. This is the true person that you follow. His name is not Jehovah. His name is not Yahweh. His name is not even God. His name is I am that I am, which is in Exodus 3:14, which equals to Ahiah Hashal Ahiah. Right? 1 Chronicles 5:1.
In the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 1. And it reads, says, "Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. And the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph."
So usually when you're the firstborn son of anything, everything goes to you once the father dies. But since Reuben defiled his father's bed, which was the firstborn of Israel, Reuben was the firstborn of Israel, but he defiled his father's bed. So his birthright was given to Joseph, and his chief rulership was given to Judah. So that's how Judah became the ruler of Israel, because Reuben, who was the firstborn of Israel, defiled the father's bed. So Judah is the chief ruler, and not only if Judah is the chief ruler, let's go back to Psalm 76:1. So not only is Judah the chief ruler, but he is the one that the spirit of Ahiah resides in to say, go teach the people. Go wake up the people. All right. Now, I'm not saying that the spirit of the Most High is not in Gad. It's not in Simeon. It's not in Issachar. It is. But Judah is the one that's going to, the word is going to resonate in Judah. And then Judah goes out and teach Gad. Now the spirit rises in Gad. Now Gad can go teach. But Judah is the one that's going to wake up here and say, hey, this is who we are. And that's what we're starting to see worldwide. 76:2.
We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 76, verse 2. It says, "In Salem also in his tabernacle and his dwelling place in Zion."
So Salem is also in his tabernacle. Why? Because Melchizedek is the king of Salem. So since Melchizedek was the king of Salem, we have to also make that part of the tabernacle. It's almost like Salem was a business, one of the business partners for Jerusalem. All right, verse 3.
Verse 3 says, "There break he the arrows of the bow, the shield and the sword, and the battle Salah. Thou art more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey." So
he says Judah is more glorious and excellent than the mountains of the prey. Go ahead.
It said, verse 5 says, the stout-hearted are spoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might have found their hands.
So when it says and none of the men of might have found their hand, Judah is kings. Judah has powers through the Spirit of the Most High. Once Judah know who they are, once Judah wake up, Judah is your so-called African Americans, the Negroes here in America. So it says Judah, none of the men of might have found their hands. So they don't even know their strength. They don't even know who they are. Judah has a lot of powers. These people are some powerful people, kings of the earth, but they don't know who they are. So if Judah don't know who they are, how can they know they have a strong hand? How can they know they have the true power? Verse 6.
We in Psalm 76, verse 6. It says, "At thy rebuke, O Most High of Jacob, both the chariot and the horse are cast into dead sleep."
So everything's cast into dead sleep when it comes to Judah. All right, both the chariot and the horse are cast into sleep. So you can't even get to where the chariot is dead and the horse is dead. Dead sleep. So that's how Judah is. The tribe of Judah is in a dead sleep. All right, when the tribe of Judah should be up, out and about, teaching and waking people up, telling people who they are, telling people what's going on, who the true power is, who the person they need to worship, not Jesus. That's what Judah's job is, but Judah's in a deep sleep, a dead sleep, not even a deep sleep. At least a deep sleep is what, like a coma? A dead sleep is you're done. And that's kind of how our people is. A lot of our people will not wake up to the truth. I can sit here and talk until I'm purple in the face, and you just have so many people who will not even entertain me. I'm talking about Judah. I can go to a room full of Judah, and they wouldn't even give me a chance. That's the sad part about Judah. At least other nations, if you come in with some truth, they'll at least hear you out. And even if, at the end, they'll say, hey, you know what, that ain't for me. At least they'll hear you out. But Judah, they won't even give us a chance. So that's the sad thing about it all. Let's go to Hebrews 7 and 4. So let's finish out the information on Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is going to lead us right into the lesson on grace. All right, because we're talking about the king of righteous, so he was the king of righteous. His priesthood was similar to Christ's priesthood. All right, priesthood of the Levites, and everybody else was in the flesh, but the priesthood of Melchizedek and Christ was somewhat similar, and that's what you're going to see here, and how it was passed on. So the righteousness of Melchizedek that was passed on to Abram, which is Abraham, and then on to the Levitical priesthood, on to Christ, which Christ brought grace. All right, Hebrews 7 and 4.
We're in the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, verse 4. It says, "Now consider how great this man was,
Talking about Melchizedek,
unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoil."
just still talking about Abraham giving tithes to Melchizedek.
Verse 5, "And verily, they that are the sons of Levi, who received the office and of the priesthood."
So it tells you right here that the Levites received the office of the priesthood. So like I said, through the laws and the commandments, Moses gave Levi the priesthood. Go ahead.
We're in the middle of verse 5. It says, "Have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham, but he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham, and bless him that had the promises. And without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. And here men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witness that he liveth. And as I may say, Levi also, who receiveth tithes, paid tithes in Abraham.
So it says, so then Levi did the same thing that Abraham did for Melchizedek. Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek, and then Levi also paid tithes to Abraham. Go ahead.
We're in verse 10. It says, "For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should arise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron?"
The order of Aaron just saying Aaron and his sons were the first people to be the priesthoods of the Levitical priesthood. Because Aaron is from the tribe of Levi. All right, Moses is from the tribe of Levi. Okay, but it says under the Levitical priesthood, people were receiving the law. So when you're teaching, when you're teaching, and people say, okay, well, I'm a minister, or I'm a priest, or I'm a teacher, you're supposed to be teaching the people the law. And if the people are not getting taught the laws and the commandments, then that's not the correct person that needs to be teaching. Okay? So that's what that's saying when it says right here that the people were receiving the law under the teachings of the Levitical priesthood. All right? Go ahead.
We're in verse 12. It says, "For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar."
So it's this one, oh, okay, read 14. Let's read 14.
Verse 14, "For it is evident that our power sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood."
Okay, read down to 16.
"And it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek there ariseth another priest, who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life."
So it says Christ was not made after the fleshly commandments, the law of the flesh commandment, which was what the Levitical priesthood was following. See, anybody under the Levitical priesthood was following the law of the carnal commandment. But Melchizedek and Christ was under the power of endless life. So that's why in the beginning when we read, it said in Hebrews 7:3, read Hebrews 7:3.
In Hebrews 7:3 it says, "Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of the Most High, abideth a priest continually."
Okay, so having neither beginning of days nor end of life. So he was the same as Christ. All right, his priesthood was the same as Christ. Now read 17 again. That's how you compare him to. Read it again. 16. I mean.
Verse 16 says, "Who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment,
So this precept is talking about Christ, right?
but after the power of an endless life."
So it's the same precept, almost verse 16, which is talking about Christ. Okay, and then verse 3, which is talking about Melchizedek. Okay, let's go to anybody that has a Jasher, the book of Jasher. Let's go to the book of Jasher. And let's go to chapter 67. We're just going to confirm that Aaron was from the tribe of Levi. Read the book of Jasher, chapter 67, read verse 1 down to verse 4. Go ahead.
We are in the book of Jasher. We're in chapter 67, verse 1. And it reads, says, There was a man in the land of Egypt, of the seed of Levi, whose name was Amram, and the son of Kehat.
So it says Amram was from the tribe of Levi, from the seed of Levi. Go ahead.
Says the son of Kehat, the son of Levi, the son of Israel. Verse 2, and this man went and took a wife named Jezebel, the daughter of Levi, his father's sister. And she was 126 years old.
All right, so Amram took the wife of Jezebel. She was also Levi. All right, and how old was she?
126 years old.
All right, go ahead.
He came unto her. Verse 3. And the woman conceived and bare a daughter, and she called her name Miriam, because in those days the Egyptians had embittered the lives of the children of Israel.
All right, so it says at the age of 126, she bare a daughter named Mary. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Aaron. For in the days for her conception, Pharaoh began to spill blood of the male children of Israel.
All right, so Aaron and Miriam were born of Aram and Jezebel. Okay, let's go back to the Bible. All right, let's go to, we finished where we was at, 16. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 12 and 67, 1 Chronicles 12 and 27. So Aaron, the Levitical priesthood was brought in under Aaron and his kids, which are from the tribe of Levi. Aaron and his kids are from the tribe of Levi, but they was called something else. All right, they wasn't called under the Levitical priesthood, even though they was under the Levitical priesthood. Let's see what Aaron and his kids were called. 1 Chronicles 12 and 27.
We're in the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 12, verse 27. And it reads, and Jehoiada was the leader of the Aaronites, and with him were 3,700.
So the Aaronites. So Aaron and his sons were called the Aaronites. Yet they were still the priesthood under the Levitical priesthood, but they were called the Aaronites. Okay? So if you ever see the word Aaronites, it's still speaking of the Levitical priesthood, but it's just Aaron and his sons. That's like me, and his sons are called the Loves. So that's they was still the priesthood though. They were still Levi. Alright? But that's why Moses named Levi, that's why the tribe of Levi got the priesthood. Because of Aaron. Aaron was from the tribe of Levi. Aaron has a brother. I'll open it up. What's Aaron's brother's name? Huh? Moses? Did you say Moses? You whisper that out over there? Yeah, but Moses and Aaron are brothers. Okay, so that makes Moses from the tribe of what? Levi. Okay, so remember, that's good stuff to know. But that's why through the law, the first tribe to get the priesthood was Levi. Now that should make sense now. Okay, so now that we know who Melchizedek is, so Melchizedek, a quick summary on Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the king of righteousness, the king of Salem, the king of peace. All right? The word Salem means the foundation of peace, and it's another name for Jerusalem. Okay? Melchizedek, he was the first person to have the priesthood. All right? So before Moses, before Abram, before Isaac and Jacob, was Melchizedek who had the priesthood. He was a man of the Most High. Now, a lot of people are confused when you talk about Melchizedek. Write this down, because when you talk to somebody about Melchizedek, this is what they're going to say to you. Well, how was Melchizedek a priest of the Most High when he was from the seed of Ham?
Go on.
That's what they're going to say to you. And why? Because Melchizedek, during his time, he resided in the land of Canaan. So since he was in the land of Canaan, he was considered a Canaanish priest. That's what they called him. He resided in the land of Canaan, which is the land of Ham, and he was called a Canaanish priest. So people was like, well, he was from the seed of Ham. No. Melchizedek is from the seed of Shem, which is from the same bloodline Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob comes from. Okay, so that's going to be the confusement that someone's going to bring in when you bring up the name Melchizedek, and they're going to say, well, he's not from the priesthood of Christ. I mean, the Most High. But we just read a few precepts to where it says that he is. Hebrews 7:1 starts off saying he was the priest of the Most High. Okay, so these precepts you can give to people, and I wanted to go over these, and it was a good question by brother Kevin. Brother Kevin called me yesterday and asked about this, and I just figured I would go into it a little bit before the lesson, and I'm glad he did, because it falls right into the priesthood of Christ having the same order of the priesthood after Melchizedek. So now we're going to go into grace. We'll speak on grace, all right, because we read earlier where it says Christ is a different type of priest. He's not the same type of priest as everyone else, and we're going to find it out right now. All right, let's start off with Genesis 18:3. While everybody's pulling up that precept, tell them what the word grace means.
We have grace, and it means favor and affection.
So the word grace means favor or affection. So a lot of people say they use the word grace in a lot of different ways. All right, I give grace to the Most High, or have grace on me. People pray and ask for grace. Have grace on me. So the word grace means favor or affection. Go ahead.
Genesis 18:3, chapter 18, verse 3. And said, my power, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant.
So it says, if I found favor in thy sight. So like I say, some people when they pray, they ask for grace. Give me grace in thy sight. But right here he said favor. Break down the word favor.
We got favor. We got Hebrews 25:80.
So the word favor in Hebrew is 2580. Go ahead.
H2580, and we got Cain. Cain, spelled Chen. Cain, and it is favor, graciousness.
So favor means graciousness. So the word favor right here in this precept means graciousness. Give them the rest. Go ahead.
It says that is subjectively kind, favor, kindness, objectively beauty, favor, grace, pleasant, precious, well favored.
So favor can mean kindness, beauty, preciousness, pleasant, graciousness. All right. Genesis 6:8. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 8. It says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High.
So grace right here means favor. All right. So it says, and Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High. Read the next verse.
Verse 9, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with the Most High.
So Noah was a just man. So by him being a just man, this is how he found grace in the eyes of the Most High. Verse 8 says, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High. So how did he have grace in the eyes of the Most High? Because he was a just man when he walked in the flesh. He walked in the flesh. He was a just man. He did things perfect. All right? Just like Abraham. Abraham was perfect in the eyes of the Most High. So was Noah. So they found grace. He found grace in Ahia. And the word grace in this precept is H2580 also. So it's the same word. All right? But by grace, we're saved. Okay? So people have to understand, by grace, we are saved through faith. So people say, well, how does grace play in my life? Well, that's how you're saved. You're saved through grace. Let's go to Ephesians 2:1. That's how grace plays a big part in your life. If the Most High comes down to show favor on your flesh, now you have an opportunity to be saved. But if the Most High don't come down and show grace, or Christ don't come down and show grace on your flesh, on your situation, then how are you going to be saved if you don't have grace? You have to have grace in order to be saved. So that's one of the reasons why I really want to touch on this tonight, because I don't think a lot of people really know what the word grace means. They've heard it, but they don't understand the concept of it. But if you want to be saved, you have to have grace, which is favor from the Most High. How does the favor work? It works in your everyday life. All right. Say, for example, you got to be to work at 6 o'clock. And you sleep in. You live way on the west side and you work way downtown. You got to be to work at 6 o'clock, but you sleep in. Miss the alarm clock, everything. Pop up at 5:15. You still got to get in the shower, get ready, and you get dressed, jump in the car, and get to work on time. You be like, and now you're sitting at work on time. You're like, I don't even know how I got here on time. I don't even know how that happened. And you be sitting there like, wow, did I just make it to work in 45 minutes like that through traffic and got dressed? You had grace. That's how I look at it. Grace was on your side that morning. All right? So when things start falling into place and you just don't have no answer for it, it's not luck. You're like, oh, I got lucky today, man. You know, something happened, man, out of the blue. No, that was favor from the Most High. It was grace. The word luck, if you use the word luck, is dealing with witchcraft. Witchcraft and things like that. Enchanters and wizards, then that's when you bring in luck. Hey, I would like to make a wish. All right, you make a wish, it's somewhat like the luck. You're bringing in luck. No, grace and luck are two different things. All right, so if something good happens in your life, don't say I was lucky. Oh, I was lucky today, man. Things went really well. No, I had grace from the Most High. The Most High got me through the day. Everything went good. It was perfect. I had straight grace. All right, Ephesians 2:1. Right, straight. No luck. It's not I had luck. I had grace. Start using the word grace. And then when you realize that it's favor coming from the Most High, now He'll continue to give you grace. But you can't take His credit. You can't take His credit and be like, He did something for you. And you be like, yeah, today was a lucky day. Not so then, now you're giving the credit of grace to somebody else, so now He's not going to give it to you no more. All right, but if you say, hey, I had grace today, now He's going to keep giving that to you. All right, you have to understand how it works. Ephesians 2:1.
We in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 1. And it reads, and you hath He quickened, who were dead in trespass and in sins, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So it says in verse 1, and you had He quickened. Quickened means he's brought you back. All right, you've been zapped back into to light. The light has come back on. You know, you got a flickering light. You're like, man, this light is going on and going off. It's going on and going off until somebody actually get up there and screw it back in and tighten it. That's kind of how you are. If you're not in the spirit of the Most High, you're one of those light bulbs that's kind of halfway screwed in and it's going in and out. So you're dark in the light, in the dark in the light. You know the truth, but you're still following Satan. You know the truth, but until somebody can come in and tighten that light bulb on until the light is completely on. All right, and then once somebody do that, then you had he quickened, who were dead in trespass and sin. So until you're quickened, you're dead in your sins and your trespassing. But once he quickened you, now you got a chance to be saved. Now you have a chance that he touches you with the grace. All right, read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2, it says, wherein times past ye walked according to the course of this world.
So you walked after the course according to this world. So that's traditions, different things man has come up with. Man-made holidays, man-made clothing, man-made foods. Everything that you do was made after man. So you walked after the course of this world. So, but he quickened you. Remember, verse 1 says, and you had he quickened. So now you don't walk after the course of this world. So once he comes down and he quickens you and show you the light, you no longer walk after the course of this world. Go ahead.
It says, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So who is the prince that is talking about? It says, in times past, in verse 2, Ephesians 2 and 2, wherein in times past ye walked according to the course of this world. So you walked after all the satanic things of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air. Let's find out who the prince of the power of the air is. Let's go to John. Hold on, this is coming to me. I want to say John 14 and 30. Yep. Let's go to St. John 14 and 30. So let's find out who the prince of the power of the air. Hold your spot on Ephesians 2 and 2. We just want to find out who this prince is. St. John 14 verse 30.
We in the book of St. John, chapter 14, verse 30. It says, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and have nothing in me.
So right here, Christ was speaking with the disciples. And this was like his last conversation with the disciples. This is Christ. He gathered the disciples up and said, basically, hey, this is my last conversation with you guys. I already warned you that they're about to crucify me and kill me. So this is be the last time that y'all hear from me. All right, so let me warn y'all. This is what Christ was saying. Read it again.
Chapter 14, verse 30 in the book of John, it says, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world come and had nothing in me.
So Christ warned the disciples that the person that was coming after him, which was the prince of the world. See, Christ is the prince of Israel, the king of Israel. See, that's the difference. See, people get it confused. Because you will see that in the Bible where it says the prince of Israel or the king of Israel. The prince of Israel is Christ. But the prince of the world is Satan. All right? It's two different people. All right? So a lot of people, they'll read this precept and think the prince of the world is somebody good come after Christ. No. Christ says, hey, warning disciples, hereafter I will not talk much with you. And the prince of this world coming had nothing in me. So this new prince that's coming after me will have nothing of me in him. He's not going to have none of my teachings. He's not going to have none of my sayings. Anything that I'm teaching you guys, y'all hold it cold to your heart, because the prince of the world that's coming, which is Satan and the government, nothing to me will be in those people. All right? So let's go back to Ephesians 2 and 2. So the prince of the world that Christ was warning the disciples about, saying when he comes, nothing to me is going to be in him, is the same prince that's been spoken of in Ephesians 2 and 2. And the same prince, he runs the world. All right? So that's why in both precepts says he's the prince of the world. Go ahead.
We're in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3.
Read 2 and 2 again.
2 and 2. It says, where in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So the prince of the power of the air, which is Satan, his spirit works with the children of the disobedient. So anybody that's being disobedient, what's disobedient? How can you be disobedient to the Bible? By not following the laws and the commandments. So people that don't follow the laws and the commandments, that spirit is from the prince of the air, the prince of the power of the air, which is Satan. So if you go to, so we already know, 90 to 95% of churches don't follow the commandments and the laws no more. That's something that we know. You can go into a Christian church right now, they don't follow the commandments or the laws. You can go to a Christian church right now and ask who can quote all 10 commandments, and maybe 1 or 2 people can tell you. The preachers might not even be able to tell you. They might stumble and make a joke out of it. Oh yeah, I left that one. You don't know them because you're not teaching them. So the people that are being, the children that is speaking of right here, the children of disobedience are the people that are disobeying his commandment. What's the one commandment? To follow the laws and the commandments. We have one commandment, and that one commandment is to follow the laws and the commandments. We went over there last week. All right, verse 3.
Verse 3 it says, among whom also, it says, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and whereby nature the children of wrath, even as others.
So the children of wrath, the fleshly mind, it's talking about walking after the course of this world. Verse 2 says, when you walk after the course of this world, you had fleshly mind, fulfilling the desires of the flesh, doing everything after the flesh. Verse 4.
Verse 4 says, but the Most High is, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Christ.
So he quickened us together with Christ. And he says, but who is rich in mercy. So I know you see a lot of precepts where it says you are rich in the spirit. So this is what it means. You're rich through the mercy of Ahia. All right, and you're quickening us together with Christ. Go ahead.
Verse 5, it says, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Christ. By grace ye are saved.
So by grace ye are saved. So that's what I was saying earlier. You have to have grace to be saved. Finish it out. Read through verse 8.
And verse 6, and hath raised us up together, and made us sit together in heavenly places in Christ Yeshua, that in the ages to come he might shew the exceeding riches of his grace and his kindness toward us through Yeshua Christ. Verse 8, for by grace ye are saved through faith.
So you have to have faith. That's where it starts. So people say, well, how do I get grace? How does grace fall upon me? How does the Most High have favor for me? You have to have faith. So like I was saying earlier, if you got to be to work at 6 o'clock and you ignore the alarm clock and then you pop up and it's 5:15, if you're negative, oh man, I'm going to be late. Oh, I only got 40 minutes to get to work. You start being negative, guess what? You're going to be late. But if you wake up at 5:15, oh man, I got 45 minutes. And you got faith in the Most High that he going to take care of it. Next you know, you sitting at work 2 minutes, 3 minutes early saying, wow. So it starts with faith. You have to have faith. But if you had that negative seed, trust me, it's going to be negative. Satan jumps on negativity. He feeds off of it. But when that faith, but if you got that faith, now Ahia can show you the favor. How can Ahia show you favor in something if you don't have faith in him? That's just like your kids. If you want to do something for your kids, but if your kids don't have respect for you or don't have, you're not going to do nothing for the kid. But if the kids show you respect, they show you that they're patient, they're not asking every 10 minutes. If you say, hey, you know what? You've been respectful all day, little Johnny. You ain't asked about that toy in 2 days. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it. But if little Johnny, Mom, you still going to get it? You're gonna be like, you know what, boy, you didn't ask so many times. I'm not gonna get nothing. That's same. The high is the same. Most High is the same with us. All right. 2 Corinthians 8:2. So grace starts with faith. All right. So in order for Him to give you grace, you have to have faith. So that's how it starts. Okay. But people don't have faith until you find Christ. Once you find Christ, that's where the faith works. All right. Faith. And how do you get faith? So in order to get grace, you got to have faith. How do you get faith? By having patience. So you have to have patience in order to receive the true faith. A lot of people don't have patience. All right, but faith starts with patience. Okay. 2 Corinthians 8:2. So there's levels, there's steps to this. Patience, faith, then grace, then salvation. That sounds good to me. I'll take it.
That's salvation.
Huh?
Put me down. For it.
Put you down for one of those? For real. 2 Corinthians 8:2.
We in book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 8, verse 2. And it reads, how that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded unto the riches of their liberality.
Okay. Go hold your spots right there, guys, and go back to Ephesians 2:8. My fault. I forgot to hit one more point. I got it highlighted right here. I just started talking. Go to Ephesians 2:8. Hold your spot on 2 Corinthians 8:2, but go back to Ephesians 2:8. While they're finding that, read Ephesians 2:8 again.
Verse 8, chapter 2. In the book of Ephesians, it says, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High.
So grace is a gift of the Most High. All right, it ain't nothing that you did yourself. So that's why it says, and that not of yourselves. So grace don't come from something that you did. All right, it's a gift. So if you got grace, it's a gift from the Most High. Now let's go back to 2 Corinthians 8:2.
We're in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 8, verse 2. And it reads, says, how that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded unto the riches of their liberality.
So it says that through our great trial and affliction, so when you're going through things and you've been afflicted, and through the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded unto the riches. So you say, well, how are we rich in the spirit? How do we become rich in the spirit? You got to go through some things. You got to go through some deep poverty. You got to be afflicted like Christ was. Christ was afflicted when he was in the flesh. He went through poverty. All right, Christ didn't come here and say, give me lavish things. No, Christ went through poverty. He was at the bottom when he was here in the flesh. So we have to go through the same thing. You have to go through a great trial of affliction. You have to have deep poverty. And now you're rich in the spirit. All right, verse 3.
Verse 3, it says, for to their power I bear record, yet, and beyond their power they were willing of themselves, praying us with much entreaty that we would receive the gift and take upon us the fellowship of the ministering to the saints.
Okay, so it says praying us with much entreaty that we will receive the gift. So you will receive the gift. All right, how do you receive the gift? We said it earlier. All right, you have to have patience, faith, and the grace will come, and then salvation. So you receive the gift of the Most High, which is grace, by doing what you're supposed to do in the flesh. Verse 5.
Verse 5. And this they did, not as we hoped, but first gave their own selves to the Most High.
So you got to give yourself up. You got to turn yourself over. Get out of the flesh. Get out of the fleshly ways you do, and turn yourself over to the Most High. Go ahead.
We in the middle of verse 5. It says, and unto us by the will of the Most High. Verse 6, insomuch that we desire Titus, that as he had begun, so we would also finish in you the same grace also. Your love to us, see that ye...
Are you up?
Okay, y'all. We in the...
Verse 7.
Yeah, I thought I was in verse 7. We 2 Corinthians 8 and 7, it says, therefore, as ye abound in everything in faith and utterance and knowledge and in all diligence and in your love to us, see that ye abound in this grace also. I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love. For ye know the grace of our power, Yeshua Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that ye through his poverty might be rich.
So let's break this down. So verse 8 says, I speak not by commandment, but by occasion of the forwardness of others, and to prove the sincerity of your love. So you have to prove your love to the Most High in order to get your grace and your riches. You have to go through some things in the flesh and prove to him that you're strong enough and that you can be tried through the fire. You have to be tried through some things, and once you make it through the fire, then he says, all right, you're one of my true people. You kept whole when I put you through all that. You kept true to your word. You kept true to me. Now I can give you grace. Because a lot of people, he can put you through something, and you'll stop. You'll go run to Satan. The moment he start putting you through something and stuff get hard, you'll give up and go to Satan. All right, but the Most High said, when I put you through something and you show me that you can make it through it and you get through that fire, now I can give you grace. And then in verse 9 he says, for ye know the grace of the Most High through Christ, that though he was rich. So it says Christ was rich, but for your sakes he became poor. What does that mean? So for your sakes, Christ gave up his richness to die for your sins and became poor, that ye through his poverty, so through Christ's poverty, we became rich in the spirit. So that's what that's speaking of. All right, so Christ gave up his richhood and sacrifice for us. He says, and Christ said, I'm going to be poor in order for you guys to be rich in the spirit so you can be saved. That's what being rich in the spirit is. Now you have the kingdom. Now you have the opportunity to be saved. You have grace. So like I say, when you add them all up, it equals richness, patience, all right, grace, salvation, kingdom. All right, no, patience, faith, grace, salvation, and then the kingdom. You add all that up, you're rich. You don't need nothing else. All right, let's go to Revelations 3 and 18. So Christ became poor for our sakes. That's deep. Because Christ had it all. He came here. He was the Son of the Most High. He could have just been selfish. He said, Dad, I don't care about everybody else. I already got it. He could have just been the ruler. He could have just been zapping people with his finger. Get out of here. Zip, zap. Just using powers. Just doing whatever he wants. But Christ said, no. I'm going to come down and I'm going to be humble and be like them in the flesh. And I'm going to become poor in the flesh just so they can become rich in the spirit. So they can be saved. So they can have things. Because without Christ, you have nothing. You have nothing to look forward to. The kingdom. You have nothing to repent for. You can't repent. Your lives in your hand is in the hands of a man. All right? Revelations 3 and 18. Yes, sir. You know, hey, that's the new thing, huh? So we say patience, faith, grace, salvation, and the kingdom. Yeah, write that down. We're going to use that. Yeah? That's the new ticket. That's the new ticket. You need this ticket right here to be admitted. All right? Revelations 3 and 18.
We in the book of Revelations, chapter 3, verse 18. It says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, and that thou mayest see.
All right. So it says in the beginning, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried through the fire. So like I was saying, you have to be tried through the fire in order to get the grace. All right. In order for Ahia to say, well, I'm gonna give you favor, he has to try you first to make sure you're on his team. He ain't gonna just start coming down and giving you favor when he know you're still on Satan's team. All right. You have to be on his team 100%. Okay. And then he says, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. All right, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Okay, let's break it down. Break down eye salve.
We have eye salve, and it is Greek 2854. It is G 2854, which is eye salve, and it is pronounced Kulurion. Kulurion. We got KOLLOURION. Kulurion. We have neuter, presume, a cake. Plaster.
So it's like a plaster. What's plaster? Wall plaster. It's covering up something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eye salve is like sleeping eye. You know when you first wake up in the morning, you gotta get it out a few times. Because if you don't, then you be walking around. You might walk into something like, man, I didn't get it all out. You got the crust just. Sometimes, man, you can have some bad. I didn't have some bad crust. When I woke up in the morning, you gotta almost just be like, man, what is it?
Pick the holes.
Almost be liquidy, and so it's just like putty, you know. So it's like he said, you got eye salve, all right. But he says he's going to take away that eye salve that you may see. So once he try you like gold through the fire, and he try you out, and then you show your truth to him, then he'll take that sleep out your eye to where you can now see. Now he'll show you grace. Now you have favor in everything you do. Now you don't have no shame in thy nakedness. Because right now people are ashamed. That's what it means. When you're ashamed in thy nakedness, you're ashamed of who you are. You're ashamed to walk around with the Bible. You're ashamed to speak in his name. But no, once he try you through the fire, everywhere you go, you're speaking of his name. You got your Bible in hand. You don't care who see it. You at the airport waiting on your flight. What you doing? You reading your Bible. You ain't reading no GQ magazine or Sports Illustrated. No, you're reading your Bible, and you don't care who see it, and you don't care who asks the question. That's what it's about. 1 Peter 1:13. Got about 10 minutes left. So in order to receive your grace, you have to go through some things in the flesh. He's going to afflict you the same way he afflicted his son. Why? You're no better than the son. What makes you think you're better than the son? The son gave up his richness and became poor for you. So you're no better than him. So in order for you to receive your richness, you have to go through the same thing Christ went through. Does that make sense? So if Christ came in and gave up his richness and went through poverty and became poor in the spirit, in the flesh, you have to do the same thing first in order to receive your grace. You have to do the same thing and say, okay, I found Christ. Well, in the spirit, in the flesh, I'm going to become poor. I want to go through some things. If you're not going through nothing and everything's perfect for you, you might want to ask the Most High for some affliction. Say, hey, give me some affliction in my life so I can know I'm truly yours. Test me, Ahia. If everything's perfect for you right now, you might want to get on your knees and start begging for some problems so he can test you to make sure you're right. Because if everything's perfect and you're just having a good old time, everything's falling into place for you, then, hey, know you've gone through some things over the last couple of years and things got really hard and now things are good, now you can say, hey, I went through my affliction a couple of years ago. Now I'm receiving my favor. But we have to go through the same. We're no better than Christ. Let's go back to where we were. Hold where we were. Hold 1 Peter 1 and 13. Let's go back to St. John. Where we was in 14 and 30. Let's go now to 15 and 18. St. John 15 and 18. Because like I say, if Christ came and he gave up his richness and became poor for us, that we might become rich in the spirit, then we have to do the same thing. Go ahead.
When St. John chapter 15 verse 18, and it reads, it says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you.
So Christ said, if the world hate you, you know it hated me before it hated you. All right, they hated me also. So all these Christian churches, all these Catholic churches, the world don't hate the Catholic churches. The world don't hate Christian churches. Who is the world? The world is the government, the prince of the world, the government, the president, the IRS. They don't hate these Christian establishments. They don't hate the Catholic Church. They love the Pope. So that goes to show you that these people are not following Christ, because Christ says, hey, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. So it's the same thing. So how is the Christian churches now getting funded by the IRS, getting 501c3, and then they getting funded to make these big old lavish churches? That lets you know that they're not following Christ. They're following somebody else, because Christ says right here, anybody that's following me, they're going to hate you the same way they hated me when I walked in the flesh. Verse 19.
Verse 19. If you were of the world will love his home.
You remember Ephesians 2 and 2 where it says, if you walked after the course of the world, which is the prince of the air, then they would love you. But since you don't walk after them no more, they hate you. Go ahead.
We're in the middle of verse 19. It says, but because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you.
So now that you woken up and I chose you out of the world hates you. So Christ says the world will hate you. The world hated me. They're going to hate you. The Christians are not being hated, you guys. This is a point I'm making right now. So the Christian churches, all these religions, they're not being hated. So that lets you know they're not following the true word of Christ. Like me, like I say it all the time. If I call the IRS right now and say, hey, I got a church that I run and I need $500,000 to start an establishment. And they're going to be like, okay, well, what's the name of your religion? Well, it's not a religion. We're the Israelites. We're the true Hebrews. So from the tribe of Judah. They're going to cut me off right there. They're not going to answer another call. They're going to say, you're from what? Well, I'm from the tribe of Judah. And I'm an Israelite. Is that a Christian-based church? No. Are you Catholic? No. Buddha? No. We just follow the Bible. But we can't help you, sir. By the way, where you live, if anything, they're going to ask my address to come shut me down. All right? Because they hate the true word of Christ. All right, let's go back to 1 Peter 1 and 13. So you're no better than Christ. If you want to receive the grace, you have to go through some things. And the world is going to hate you for what you're speaking. All right? If they got word on what we're talking about right now tonight, there's going to be some problems. Somebody's going to say, hey, they can't be doing that. Because now the world teaches you're just everything's from your heart. As long as you believe certain things and follow your heart, do this or do that, that's your religion. But we all know the word religion just means mystery, division. Go ahead. We got 5 minutes left.
We in St. John.
1 Peter.
1 Peter. When 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 13 says, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yeshua Christ. As obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance.
So the former lust of your ignorance is walking after the flesh, after the world. doing things that other people do, traditions, holidays, Christmas, Easter. You following these holidays and don't even know. That's why it says not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance. So you're ignorant when you follow those holidays because you ain't never asked a question. Following Christmas in Jeremiah 10:3 breaks Christmas down to the T and say don't follow it, but yet you're still following it. So you're ignorant. All right? But once you go to follow the laws and the commandments, then you'll realize that those holidays are pagan. All right? John 1:14. So 1 Peter 1:13 says, be sober in the mind. All right? Don't be drunk, because when people are asleep, you're drunk. You remember he says he put a deep sleep on you. You're drunk. All right? But not with wine. You know, but people don't realize what it said. It says, be sober in your mind. What is it, Isaiah 29? Let's go to Isaiah 29:9 first. Read why they're finding Isaiah 29:9. Read 1 Peter 1:13.
1 Peter 1:13, it says, wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yeshua Christ.
So it says, wherefore, gird up your loins of your mind, be sober. So what does it mean when it says, be sober? So you have to be sober so you can receive this grace. All right? Isaiah 29:9. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 9. Says, read, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
So it says they are drunk, they're staggering, they're stumbling, they're drunken, but not with wine. So it lets you know this precept is telling you it's not talking about physical drunk like with liquor. All right, so it says, but they are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Verse 10.
Verse 10. For the Most High hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes, and the prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered.
So he's put out a deep sleep on you. Not only on you, he's put a spirit of deep sleep, but on the prophets and the rulers that's in your area. So all your preachers, all your rulers, your government, your president, they're all in a deep sleep. All right, so that's what it means when it says be sober, because the Most High has put a spirit of deep sleep on you, and you're drunken, but not with wine. It's a spiritual drunken. Read verse 11.
Verse 11 in Isaiah chapter 29, and it reads, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed.
So these are your preachers and your prophets that are in the churches. It says the vision of all is become to them as a words of a book that is sealed. Why is this Bible sealed to these preachers and these prophets? Because for one, they're not speaking the truth. And for two, we read earlier, remember in Psalm 76:1, it says that the word of the Most High is in who? Judah. So you have a lot of people, and then just the Mormon religion alone said Judah can't preach. The Mormon religion says Judah cannot even preach. So like, what doctrine are y'all following? So we got a lot of wrong things here. Finish verse 12.
Verse 12 in Isaiah chapter 29, and it reads, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned.
So these preachers know they're not reading this book correctly. They know they're not learned. They're in the spirit of a deep sleep. They're following the ministry of Satan. Alright? John 1:14. These are the last precepts of the night.
St. John.
St. John 1:14.
We in the book of St. John, chapter 1, verse 14 says, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bare witness of him, and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Yeshua Christ."
So it says, so Christ had nothing to do with the law. But a lot of churches teach you that now that Christ has come, the law is done away with. Right here it says, for the law was given to Moses separate, but grace and truth came by Christ. So it's like if you write a book, and the book had 20 chapters, the first 10 chapters would speak of the law, which is Moses. And then the last 10 chapters will speak about Christ, which is grace and truth. And it completes the book. It don't say that now that the Christ has come, the first 10 chapters we can do away with, and all we got to do now is just read the last 10 chapters. No. Christ just completes this book. That's all Christ is. Christ comes with the grace and truth, and Moses brought the law. Christ don't have nothing to do with the law. That's what we just read. Galatians 3 and 15. So that's where a lot of people, they go wrong now. They say, hey, Christ came, so we don't have to follow the law no more. We just got to worry about Christ. But what we just read, it says, for the law was given to Moses separate, but grace and truth came by Christ. So if you go to a church and the preachers say we don't have to follow the law no more, you backpedal right on out of there real smooth like Deion Sanders. You say, hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here real quick, because Deion was smooth. You don't even gotta make it noticeable. You go into church and they be like, we don't have to follow the laws and commandments. You just, you know what I'm saying? Once they say it's time to come up for the offering, instead of you going up to the front for the money, you just kind of slide on up out of there. They be like, what happened to such and such? Hey, it's like Michael Jackson and Deion Sanders at the same time, smooth criminal. You just went on ahead and backpedal right on up out of there, because I'm telling you, you're going, I don't care what you say. If you're attending a church that's not following the laws and commandments, then he's taking you, that preacher is taking you right to hell. It ain't about what you say. It's about who you're listening to. And if you're listening to somebody that says you don't have to follow the laws or the commandments, that doctrine is all the way wrong. All right? Last three precepts, Galatians 3 and 15, read to 17.
We in the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 15. Says, Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannuleth or addeth thereto.
So listen to this. So it says, though it be but a man's covenant, yet it be confirmed, no man disannuleth or added to. This annuleth means, what does the word annual mean? Something that's yearly, right? This annual means you took, that it's no longer yearly. It's no longer a tradition. Verse 16.
Verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were promises made.
So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was the promise of the seed made.
He said not, and to seeds of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ.
So this is where the confusion come in. All right. The laws and the commandments was only given to the seed of Abraham. So the seed of Abraham, they are the only people that had the commandment was you have to follow the laws and the commandments. That was only for the seed of Abraham. So anybody that was not part of the seed of Abraham did not have to follow the laws and commandments. And the people that are in charge of this world right now are not from the seed of Abraham. So that's why they teach you don't have to follow the laws and the commandments no more, because they don't have to follow the laws and the commandments. The laws and the commandments was promised to Abraham's seed. Finish it out. Verse
We
17.
in verse 17, book of Galatians, chapter 3, it says, "And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of the Most High in Christ, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul, that it should make the promise of none effect."
Don't let no, that promise that they're telling you is none effect, and it cannot disannul. It says the law which was around, the law which was 430 years after, cannot disannul. You cannot discontinue the law. It must be annual. It must be at all times. Let's finish it out with Romans 9 and 4, just for the simple fact, Galatians 3 and 16. Read Galatians 3 and 16 while everybody go to Romans 9.
In Galatians 3 and 16, it says, "Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made."
So to Abraham and the seeds were the promises made. So it says the law was promised to Abraham and his seed. The law was given to Abraham and his seed. Finish it out with Romans 9 and 4.
Romans chapter 9 verse 4. Who are Israelites?
It's asking the question, who are the Israelites? Go ahead.
To whom pertaineth the adoption
Their adoption, which is Christ's blood,
and the glory
the glory, which is the grace that we're speaking of today in the kingdom. Go ahead.
and the covenant
Covenant is speaking of the covenants in the Old Testament and the New Testament.
and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises.
So it says the Israelites was given the adoption, the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law and the services of the Most High and the promises. So that's the promises that we were just speaking of in Galatians 3 and 16. The law was only given to the Israelites, which is the seed of Abraham. So that's why all these other nations that's in charge right now say you don't have to follow the law because the law was not given to them. All right? So with that in mind, we'll close it out. I hope everybody have a better understanding on what grace is and how important grace is. Okay? So, we'll close it out by saying all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, and shalom to everybody.